Welcome everybody to the Watchlist right here in the Latin Nerds Network, where we review all the shows that get released on streaming and movies as well. And of course, at the end of the show, we'll set you up with what's coming out this week so you can create your very own watch list. So ready to give our recommendations for the week, as always, is myself and my co-host, Senor Jaime, aka Chewy. What's going on, brother?
Hey, brother, what's going on, man?
Yeah, you excited? Decent week of TV, right? No, maybe.
I'm excited that we're 4 weeks from fantasy football. Oh,
Fair enough. I am more excited as I always happen to go to the Super Bowl, unlike someone else on this panel. Just want to throw it out there.
where's your bouquet? I don't see it
I didn't
there in
say
the
I got
background.
married, but I went down the aisle.
Yeah, you went down the aisle and he said no
Yeah,
thanks.
I got there. Is it better to have gone there and lost it? We'll
Sure,
get into that in
sure.
a month from now. But either way, yeah, let's do it, man. I say next week's a big week too. A lot of stuff coming out.
Next week is a slamming week.
Slamming week.
This week
This
it's
week was
Sunday, so
light.
this week.
Not light, but it was just enough. Next week is it's a lot. But something
Mhm.
for everybody, as they say. So let's get to it, Chewy. Let's start with a couple of movies that came out. I know you only saw one of them. Well, I assume you did. I saw two. Then the first one I know you didn't watch was Carter. This was
No.
a Korean, South Korean action film kind of thing. I always dig that kind of vibe. It's, up my alley. And I'll say, wow, in a bad way, ridiculous. In the only way that ridiculous could mean. Yeah. So this was a 2 hour frustration. What it was, I don't know why I even finished watching the movie. To be honest with you, basic premise: guy wakes up, no memories, got something implanted, so he can hear someone kind of guiding him, the voice in his head, if you will. He's an ex-CIA agent who's playing both sides in North South Korea, and there's a pandemic going on and turning people into kind of like zombie kind of things, but they don't really focus on that. And someone has his daughter, so he has to go rescue her, yada yada yada. And I applaud the effort because they use a technique which probably should not be used in a movie like this, and that's a single take kind of tracking shot technique for the whole film. There was something like Birdman did that, and 1917 did that. Too much better results. This movie was a mess because it was an amateur with the camera because he was cameras all over the place. They couldn't keep it still, and then to transition to make it seem like it's one take was very awkward. A lot of CGI, and some of the action was okay, but some was ridiculous shit I've ever seen. It made the Fast Five look believable. Any of the Fast movies look incredibly believable. That's how bad this is. There's gunfights while they're free falling in the sky. I don't know how you pulled that off. And this helicopter's doing like rolling motions, which is basically impossible for a helicopter. It's ridiculous. Avoid at all costs. The 2 hours of mayhem. I like the effort. I like the single take for action, but it doesn't work for the whole movie. Not the way these guys did it. Big negative. Avoid it. Waste of time. Unlike this next film, which really surprised me, and that's on Hulu, Prey, the
Hmm.
Predator, I guess no Predator the movie, whatever. Which
Prequel?
at first I was, oh god, why? Here we go again, more nonsense. I love the first Predator, and everything else has been whatever. At best, has been whatever. But yeah, dude, a lot of good stuff. I was telling you, I heard people watching, they really liked it, and I gotta say, that was surprised, man. I really dug this one, man. It's really well made. I mean, they didn't break new ground in terms of Predator, but there's not much you can do with that kind of franchise. But they executed it very well, taking place in 1712 or whatever. Obviously,
Hmm.
on a Comanche reservation, there's a young girl who's trying to become a hunter or wants to be a hunter or recognizes one, whatever. Obviously, she goes one on one with the predator, and I liked how they evened the odds. It made sense. The action's really cool, very visceral. It's a little slow start, but it's a good build up, right? And it ended up very well. High recommend. I was shocked. I was like, man, this is actually pretty good. I actually went back, rewinded a particular scene in the when he's fighting these not settlers, I guess. I don't know, maybe. Um,
No, there's those fur trapper, French fur
yeah,
trappers.
or whatever. Yeah, of course, Fox. So yeah, Chew, what'd you think about this, man?
No, man, it was highly entertaining. I had heard great things about the movie, and I really liked it. Again, adds nothing new as far
Right.
as the format
Sure.
for the movie, but executed very well. Very good action, a good story. Ties into the existing universe to a couple of Easter
Oh
eggs.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, and some you may know, I have to go back and look at it because I couldn't even remember because it's been such a long time since the first two Predators
Mm-hmm.
came out, right? Um, But man, it was. I mean, it was worthy of going to see in the theaters. Honestly, I
Yeah,
mean, it
completely
was that
agree.
good.
Yeah, completely agree. I'm surprised they didn't go that route, and I guess given the lack of success of the last couple, I
Hmm.
get maybe I can get why they didn't want to take the effort to go to theatrical release, which is kind of a shame. This was a theatrical movie.
Yeah,
It really was. It was
yeah.
that good, well made. Even for a Hulu film, the CGI looked pretty cool. I like the Predator, and
Hmm.
they give him some new stuff that we hadn't seen before. Some similar
Well,
weapons,
I mean, that was
or different
I mean,
the
it was
different
a
versions of weapons that we've seen before.
yeah, yeah. Well, no, not a different version of weapons. I mean, it was a different version of the Predator because they didn't look like the
Well, yeah,
ones we
it's
had
a different
seen
kind of Predator, right?
in the
Yeah, sure,
previous iterations.
sure.
Right? They have a certain face and a look.
Hmm.
The technology, the mask, whatever. But
That
but
was cool though.
the face and look, it looked different.
Yeah,
It was definitely a different version of a bet of or a different species of predator.
right.
And so, but aside from that, yeah, I mean, it looked very very cool. The new weaponry, the new stuff that he laid out, I mean, the fight scenes
Were really
were
good.
him and the
Were
bear.
really, oh, the bear was
That was outstanding.
that,
Oh
that
yeah,
was
man, it
great. Yeah,
was
the
great
last
stuff,
scene
man.
where her, well, let me not spoil it, but
Yeah, that's yeah,
involving her
yeah.
friend was very cool, very well done. Yeah, this is definitely the best since the original. I won't go as far as to say it's better than the original. I've heard that, and I, you know what, I'm not gonna begrudge them. Fine, I get it, and maybe even better executed than the first one. Some parts, that's fair. I thought the first one better because it's Arnold, but I'm just saying,
Yeah, dude.
but it's without question.
Jesse the Body
I know. Listen,
Ventura, dude.
I'm
Come
for
on,
the first. I'm just saying, but
come on.
this is the best since then by far.
Yeah,
Understand? This
yeah.
blows all the other ones away. If you're fans of those, you'll yeah, this is a must watch in terms of films. And I really wish it was. I wish I'd seen the
Hmm.
big screen. It's that good. It's that entertaining.
Hmm.
Um, next show, Hulu. Stay with Hulu here. We got the second season of Reservation. I keep saying Reservoir Dogs. God,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Tarantino in the mind.
Wrong show, wrong
Reservation
movie.
Dogs. You know, it's a take on that. Let's be honest. But yeah, it's kind of a I would say coming of age might be the right word, but definitely young teenagers from a reservation area. So I forget where they live. You know, whatever the case is, in
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma, and then
In
they
Oklahoma.
get into
Yeah.
shenanigans and want to break away free, yada yada yada. So I like the first season a lot. I think you mentioned Taika Waititi was involved in that. I don't know if he's involved in this
Hmm.
season. I didn't check to be honest with you. But season two came out, dropping 2 episodes at 30 minutes long. True, what are your thoughts on the first couple there?
No, man, this is a combination. I'm not sure if it's dramedy, but it's got a heavy element of comedy
Yeah,
and heavy elements of drama,
it's
right?
drama. I would
Because
say drama is a fair assessment.
this is obviously serious take on living on a reservation and the feel of wanting to get out and explore and do something more,
Right,
right?
spread your wings, if you
Uh,
will.
yes, exactly. But it's definitely comedic elements with his spirit guide and the character's
Yeah, he's great.
hilarious. Uh, the grandfather. I mean, I like how they broke out into the Tom Petty song, and this I think it was the
Oh
first or
yeah,
second
yeah.
episode, so it's definitely got its moments. It's got a lot of heart, and it's a very well made
Yeah,
half-hour show.
it
I
is.
mean,
Like I said,
it's very
it's
enjoyable.
not gonna blow anybody away, but it's a good show. I just one again. If you're light on watching something, I definitely recommend this one. Go back, watch the first season. It's good. It's a good, well done
Mhm.
show. It's definitely high recommend from both of us without question.
Yes.
Another second season show that came out, The Outlaws on Amazon Prime. It's a comedy, kind of a crime comedy with this.
I'm already laughing, dude.
Well, I know it's a really cool show. It's just I guess a group of convicted
Well, I mean,
criminals of
these guys
various
have been
degrees, right? Of
convicted of
various degrees.
various
Yeah,
degrees of
they're
crime.
doing community
Um,
service, and they're doing community
yeah.
service, and they all kind of some of them discover money belongs to a drug dealer, and they're trying to weed their way out of it, et cetera, et cetera. Um, yeah, dude, Steve Merchant again is one of the main guys, the tall guy. Is that his name?
The guy
He's
is
great.
comedy gold, dude.
He's so good, and Christopher Walken. Christopher Walken. That's all right. This is Christopher Walken. You should watch it just for that. Let's be honest, but he's in it as well. He's
Sure.
the big notable name here, and it's really good show. It's really cool. I like it. I'm enjoying the second season. It's a little more fast paced because now we get into the weeds of them trying to
Mm.
find a way to get out of the trouble they're in with the drug dealer and the money that they stole, and et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, dude, it's just fun. It's a fun show. I actually got to see like 4 episodes, only six. It was like Friday for me, so I got to see a bunch. So yeah, sure.
Okay.
I assume you're on board with this. I don't know how many you saw, but
No, I've seen too. I like to chew between taking nourishment into my mouth.
sometimes you're hungry. Yeah,
Um,
you gotta eat. You gotta eat.
I like to breathe, chew, drink,
It's
you
overrated.
know, swallow, relax.
It's overrated.
Uh, but no, seeing Steven Merchant is definitely the star of the show. I mean, he is just the comedic element. He plays a lawyer. A little buffoonish, but I mean it's very, but in a way that it's believable, but it's
Right.
likable. All right, he's not perfect by any stretch, but he starts getting involved with these guys in laundering, helping his friends, trying to find a girlfriend, and he just brings his A game to this show. It's
Yeah.
so good. But overall, the characters work together, and it's a very interesting story. Obviously, they're outlaws and they're trying to break the law to get themselves out of trouble. So that's where this is all coming from. But I mean, I'd say this is a must watch. It is that funny. It's that, and it's an hour, and it's hard to say for an hour long show. These are hour long episodes. But again, it's only 6 episodes per
Right.
season, 6 episodes per season, so it's relatively short. But it's definitely worth your while to check the show out and enjoy it.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I won't go as far as say it's must watch, but it's definitely close to it. It's very good. It's a very good show. Yeah, I'm enjoying it, man. I mean, even for an hour, you figured that might be. It sounds too long for a show like this, but it actually they
Mm-hmm.
make it work. So that's really good. They don't overdo it with the comedy, right? They do just enough to kind of keep
Mm-hmm.
you entertained and throw you into the story. Some shows get too much of the comedy, doesn't work. A la Flags of Our Fathers, but
Mm-hmm.
just an example speaking, Taika. But yeah, it's very good, very well
And
done,
look,
man. I'm enjoying
you
this.
know, the second episode has a heist, so you know I'm in,
Oh,
dude.
obviously, of course. And you
You
mentioned
son of a
you
bitch.
mentioned the dating part. They get into more of that later, which is actually pretty funny. I think in the fourth
Yeah, yeah.
episode or something, it's actually a very cool sequence
Awesome.
involving a couple of the characters. But yeah, it's a good show. Definitely. The last one is one I was really excited about, and that's the Sandman, Neil Gaiman property. It's been 30 years in the making, right? Netflix finally was able to do it. Neil Gaiman again. American Gods, for example. He wrote that. I can chew you. You're a fan of that show. Good Omens was another
I
one.
mean, the book is definitely better.
No, no, obviously. I mean, there's no question there. But I mean, just for
Yeah.
he's not new to this world, right? Again,
No.
a good
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 Omens,
Omens,
great
another
show.
one. He's got
Great,
such a
both
great
great shows.
imagination. He deals a lot with deities and different universes, and like Neverwhere's a fantastic book I love. So he's done a lot of good stuff. So you put his name on a property, I get excited about. Even the first season of American Gods was good. It just kind
Mm-hmm.
of fell off the rails, but that's not his fault or the story. Just bad showrunners. It happens. Um, but yeah, I was looking forward to this. So Chewy, you're unfamiliar with this property, so I'll let you go first as far as your thoughts on what you've seen thus far and how many episodes have you seen, and kind of go from there.
Uh, I have seen two
Okay.
episodes, and I am all in. This is a visually stunning, uh, interesting, unique show. Entertaining. It's got very unique look to it.
Mm-hmm.
Unique characters. A unique storyline. I've never read the comic. Know very little about the backstory. But coming in it cold, I mean, I am loving this show. It looks so good, and it's entertaining. I mean, that's number one. It's got to be entertaining, right? It's
Of
got to
course,
keep my
right, right. As
attention.
interesting as it is, right?
Um,
Like a good
yes.
idea is only works if it's executed right. The ultimate, right? Yeah.
Exactly, and this is executed at the casting is great. We've seen some of these characters. Charles Vance, obviously, from Game of Thrones.
Holbrook.
Ethel character we've known, yeah, Ethel Hobart. Ethel character we know from Nick Tuck and
Oh,
other
right. Mm-hmm.
shows. I mean, the Corinthian. I mean, he was in Narcos. He was in Logan. So I mean, like I said, you
Predator.
recognize some of these. Yeah, oh
The
yeah,
last Predator.
well,
Yeah.
one of the
Yeah.
iterations of
Yeah.
Predator.
He's done a
They're
lot of
not so
stuff. He's
good
been
ones.
around. He's been around.
Yes, but it's beautifully cast. I mean, I see Brianna Tartt, where I think she plays the Lucifer character. I
Yes.
haven't got that episode
Yeah.
yet. But I mean, it looks amazing, and the storytelling is so good. It's what I expected from a Neil Gaiman written piece of fiction.
Yeah, and this is maybe one of my favorite properties. I had more invested in this, and I gotta say they nailed it. They fucking nailed it. It's so good. I'm loving it, and I know what's coming, and it's incredibly faithful to the source material, which you don't see very often. Which I don't care if it is or not. To be honest with you, I don't mind them
Mm-hmm.
branching out, and they've done that in a couple small things, particularly with the Corinthian,
Mm-hmm.
because he's very a minor character, but he's more a main character in that kind of now. That's an example.
Yeah, and he's front and center out of the first two
Right, right.
episodes.
He kind of goes
So
away, but they're bringing him back. So he wasn't didn't have that much screen time as far as the comic goes. He
mm-hmm.
makes small changes, but nonetheless, I mean, it's very faithful. I mean, if you've liked the Sandman, this is gonna be so up your alley. And if you didn't like Chewie, didn't know anything with the property, but the idea is so great. We have the main character. I didn't explain it was this guy. He's not Eternals. I forget what they call him now. Jesus. By the way, you call them the deities, whatever they are, gods or whatever. But one of them is Dream.
Well, I mean, they control seven aspects
Right.
obviously the
Desire.
real world is one
Yeah.
area, but they control. I would say he's a dream master, so he controls the everything associated with dreams. Obviously, we have death, pretty obvious. In the first few episodes, they don't mention all of them, but they mention destiny
There's
and
Destiny,
despair.
Despair.
So I mean, so they're pretty.
Yeah,
It's pretty on the nose. Is what realm they control, right?
exactly. Obviously,
But
there's
it's
Lucifer.
all yeah, exactly. So I
Yeah,
mean, if
I
you don't
know
know who
they're,
Lucifer is, you got
they're
bigger
all
issues.
brothers and sisters, and Dream is the main
Yes,
character.
correct.
Morpheus is another name for him. Sam has another name for him. Obviously, he was summoned, but magical as believing he was a devil because the guy who summoned him, the guy from Game of
Well,
Thrones.
he was trapped. He
Oh, he
wasn't
was trapped.
summoned.
Well,
I
he was
mean,
summoned and
it was
trapped
a
him, right? Wrote the
spell.
spell, brought him out. Yeah.
He was trying to trap Death because he wanted to bring his son back, or who had died
Mm-hmm.
in World War I, if I'm not mistaken. And so, but they ended up bringing Dream, right? And that's basically the premise of the first episode is someone trapping and being there. He was there a long time,
Yeah, he was there
almost
about
100
100 years,
years.
and when he finally breaks
Yes,
free, his I guess no,
his kingdom is a
he's
mess. I
a
mean, it's
mess, but he lost
non-existent.
his amulets and stuff that he used for himself, where his power were spread around. Now he has to go find them again, right, to bring them back together.
Hmm.
But just a great story it's a story about storytelling. Number one, about stories. And God, if you think it's good now, Chewy, you really
Yeah.
haven't seen anything. Even I'm still waiting. I saw 5 episodes, so I was really trying to get to one particular episode where that's introduced, which
Hmm.
is so cool in the comic, and I'm dying to see how they do it visually. Without already saw the part with Rana Tarth and the health thing, which is really cool. A lot of stuff that I remember is
Hmm.
like, oh man, it's so good. It's just so and this, but that the best episode is called 24/7 so far,
Okay.
which I loved in the comic, and it's very faithful, and it just really highlights what this is all about, involving the Red Stone. You know what I'm talking about, the sun, and of course, Sandman, Dream, Morpheus. Choose one. Cool as fuck episode. Really good, man. It's very self-contained. I was like, are they gonna do an episode? Because it's on the surface, it seems like, what are we doing here? But by the end of it, you're like, oh man, that's dope as fuck. So it's really good. It's so fascinating. I can't wait to keep watching this show.
This is A plus
Yeah,
much watch
must watch. I
show.
was so
I
happy
mean,
that they did the justice because this could have gone sour, and we've seen like Mark Miller's projects not really go so well. That's just hit 'em miss with them. But this one, yeah, spot on, home run, must watch. Absolutely, you gotta watch this show. You're right.
Grand Slam.
It looks fantastic. Just the look, the feel of it, everything just hits home here.
I mean, the opening sequence where they're giving us the exposition, the backstory of who the Dream is,
Mm,
right? And you're kind of flying through Higgs Kingdom, and you see a unicorn, you see dinosaurs, you see a pumpkin head, and you see in this library. I mean, all these different realms kind of mixed in together into this. I mean, it's just like so beautifully done,
yeah, yeah.
and gives you exactly an idea of obviously because when you think of dreams, anything is possible, and that's what his realm is,
Right,
right?
exactly. And there's actually a cool thing with Cain and Abel, which I think you've seen. I'm not sure if you've seen.
That was episode two.
Okay,
Yeah,
you've
so
seen the Cain and Abel.
obviously
That was a cool like
from biblical. If you know anything about the Bible,
right,
Cain, Abel,
the
right?
first murder and
The
etc.
brothers. Yeah,
But the way he
exactly.
plays on it to the extreme is funny. It's like, oh, okay, like he always does that. That's cool. But yeah, Patton Oswalt shows up, which I didn't know because I've
He's the voice of one
yeah
of the.
that
I
voice
know
is
he was the voice of one of the
yeah one of
crows.
the Ravens or whatever that kind of
Mhm.
his tags on.
Ravens,
Yeah,
crows,
exactly.
whatever.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I was like, oh wait, it's unmistakable. You hear his voice like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's Patton Oswalt.
Look, I like you know how I feel about Patton
I know,
Oswalt,
I
man. I
get
mean,
it.
he ruined Ratatouille for me. It's I can't watch that movie anymore, and not think
Blasphemous.
of the thief and his skills. And oh Jesus,
I know. So
thinking
you
about
hear the
Ratatouille
voice, and you're like,
nightmares.
oh damn it. But no, I don't mind. But yeah, so good. I can't wait to finish the show. A couple episodes I'm waiting for it. I just can't wait for that. It's 10 episodes. Yeah, 10 episodes, about 45 minutes to an hour each. Yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely well
Hmm.
worth it. Good job on Netflix. Yeah, they usually hit home runs a lot, so good for them.
Amen.
So that was a big one. That's my as our big recommend. Obviously, we don't say must watch very often, but this one for sure, without question. That being said, is it a must watch for next week? I don't know. Maybe.
Well,
Well, there is. Actually, there is.
one. There is one for
There is
sure.
one for sure.
Actually,
So let's get into next week. As far as what's coming out, starting off on the 10th, I believe it's Wednesday, is I Am Groot. This is some shorts, based off Groot, of course, from Guardians of the Galaxy. Who doesn't love me some Groot? We've seen them do it with Baymax recently, which I liked. I enjoyed it. It's like 8-10 minutes a pop, more or less.
okay.
They did it with Up, with Doug, the dog from Up. They
Mhm.
did it as
Dog
well.
days.
Dog Days.
Dog
Yeah,
days.
so very similar. So I'm looking for it. That could be cute. I'm looking forward to that. That's an easy. In an hour, you probably watch all whatever how many episodes there are. Maybe less than an hour, to be
Probably
honest with you.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's an easy watch. Same day on Sci-Fi. I don't watch this one, so it's one show I get to watch. As good as frees up some time. I know Chewy do Resident Alien. I don't know. I've never seen it. I heard a good thing. I know you talked well about the show. I know you're ready for the next season. This is season 3 or 4.
Oh yeah, this is part two of season two.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Um, or whatever. Maybe I hate when parts.
Whatever.
Whatever. It's called season three. I
Season
don't
three
care.
is
Same
fine.
shit.
It's the same shit.
Yeah. But this is a Alan Tudyk starring show. He plays an alien on Earth who is meant to destroy humans and then ends up loving humans, right? And can't go through with his mission.
Hmm.
This is such a fun and quirky. When you think back of typical sci-fi, when I call sci-fi, I'm talking about the Sci-Fi Channel,
Right.
right? They have a certain feel on this. Sort of, I mean, they're famous for Sharknado, right? I mean, come on,
Mansquito,
let's be honest. Yeah, man.
the greatest title in a movie I've ever heard. Just want to throw it out there.
But then obviously this is done this is done by Peacock or NBC or whatever. Um, and so it's a great story. It's funny. It's got heart. And obviously Alan Tudyk does a great job of playing an aloof alien trying to understand humanity and why to save it. Why he should save him instead of destroy him.
Yeah.
So like overall, it's got a lot
No,
of
I've heard
heart.
good things about it.
It's a great
Absolutely.
watch.
Yeah, no doubt
Yes.
about it. So, same day as well, on the 10th, which is good because gives me some room to breathe. So many shows coming out.
Mm-hmm.
That's Lock and Key, the final season.
Mm-hmm.
A
Yes.
show which we've enjoyed. I liked it a lot. And actually,
Mm-hmm.
going back because my girl wanted to see it. She always wanted to go back.
Mm-hmm.
She heard 13 is coming out. So we sat down and watched with the stepdaughter and watched the first 2 seasons. So I'm ready for the third one. It's a cool show. Very cool, kind of
Yeah.
fantasy-esque, family-friendly show.
No,
Yeah, so
yeah.
that's definitely that we'll talk about in detail next week. But not looking forward to that. Then we get the interesting stuff here. So we get one movie coming out, and that's Day Shift. That's on the 12th. 14's coming out on the 12th. This is Jamie
Which you've
Foxx.
already seen and did a preview for
Yeah, I
us.
did a review on this. I'm gonna put a link to the review on here. I probably won't be. I'm not sure if you're gonna watch it or not. You let me know if you do.
I
We can
mean,
talk about it. It's not.
I,
It's not up your alley. Let me tell you right now.
no, okay, I may
Yeah,
skip
if
it.
you're into, you want to see vampire kills and all that shit, fine. But it's whatever. I'll let you guys do
Well, it's got
judgment.
Snoop. It's got Jamie
It's
Foxx.
got
I
Snoop
mean,
Day fine. There's some redeeming moments, but I wasn't the biggest fan. I'll link my review on here. You guys can check it out, make a decision for yourselves if you want to watch it that day or not. But it is
Mhm.
coming out. So I get it. It's for a certain crowd, no doubt about it. Same day. We're big fans of the show. Never have I ever. A comedy.
That's the must
That's a
watch
must
for
watch.
the week, man.
I love the first 2 seasons. Coming of age story, but it's I want to say she's Indian. I don't know, maybe.
Yes, correct. She's Indian.
Um, coming of age, you're trying to become popular, etc. What all kids want. I always say, and it's narrated at times by John McEnroe.
Mhm.
Come on, it's John McEnroe, for Christ's sake. Very self-referential. I love it. But it's very good. Very
And
good
so
show.
some nice stars that kind of help out a little bit here and there.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, there's cameo narrators, I guess, from
Hmm.
time to time. Very good show. So good. It's got the good emotional beats that any comedy should have. It really hits home. Really good show. Highly recommend. So season 3 is coming. I'm not sure if there's the last one. Actually, I have no idea.
Well, I don't know if it's the last one yet. There's no announcement. We'll
No
see if they're
announcements.
going to
Right,
continue.
we'll see if it gets renewed.
They haven't. Yeah, I mean, they haven't said it's the last season, so don't treat it as
No,
this,
no, no. I'm
like
not. Yeah,
Lock and Key. This is the end. This is final.
yeah, it's Netflix. So who
Never
knows?
have ever. Yes,
Yeah,
you never know if it cancels. So hopefully not. But I mean, if it keeps up as with the first two seasons, I don't see why it won't
yeah. I guess
continue.
it's high quality comedy. It's very good. It's so good on here. So I'm happy. I forgot that was coming out this season.
Yeah.
Next, Apple Plus. That alone gets me excited. 5 days of
At the
At
memorial.
Memorial. It's
Yeah.
true story, short limited series based off the events of Hurricane Katrina in New
Hmm.
Orleans. I forgot who started. I forgot her name. I'll find it. I'll get to it eventually. But it chronicles that, I guess, a part of that story. What's going on? She's like the main character is a rescue, right? She's
Yeah, doctor or
yeah,
one
I'm
of the
not sure.
hospitals
Yeah,
there in New Orleans at the advent of the flooding, right when Katrina hit New Orleans and essentially wiped out the city for the
right. Of
most
course.
part.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
exactly. Vera Farmiga. There you go. Farmiga. There we go. She's from The
yes,
Conjuring and
yeah.
stuff like that. So yeah, that's the name I was trying to capture.
Mm.
Yeah, so that comes out. So I'm interested in that. We just finished one. I totally forgot to include that. We'll talk about a show right now at the end of this real quick, which I forgot to bring up. And then Amazon, same day. So you got 4 things in that same day. Well, for me, really 3. It's A League of Their Own, of course, based off I love that movie, League of Their Own. Tom
Mhm.
Hanks, Gina Davis,
Penny
and
Marshall,
Penny
yeah.
Marshall directing it. About the first women's baseball team back in the Miss World World War II. All
Two.
the guys who are fighting
Yes,
the
correct.
war, they try to continue baseball, right? The American, American Pie, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, I haven't seen a trailer for it, but I love the movie, so I'm hoping it captures the same spirit. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's Amazon the 12th. So I'm looking forward to that. It looks good. I like the movie a lot. There's no crying in baseball. You know what I'm talking about. But there is one show I forgot to mention so before we sign off here, and this is one Apple Plus that ended yesterday or ended this week, and that's Blackbird.
Ah,
Yeah, totally
yeah.
forgot I meant to put that on there. So, but yeah, that
Well, that
show.
is this week, and this coming Friday we have the finale of For All Mankind. So we have a couple big shows
Yeah,
wrapping
Mankind's a
up.
must watch. That's obviously
Mhm.
such a good show, fantastic show. But Blackbird, a limited series based off a true story about
Mhm.
a guy who former high school football star, and now he's selling drugs and running guns, whatever. He gets busted, he gets 10 years, and he's a chance to commute his sentence. But to do that, he has to infiltrate a very high security prison, very dangerous prison, and try to get information from a alleged, no, not alleged, I guess, is convicted serial killer who's about to get let off, technicalities and appeals and whatever, and he has to try to find information on what he did, where he buried all these bodies, presumably. And if he gets successful, he gets a sentence commuted. High drama here, starring Taron Egerton from Kingsman, for
Mhm.
example, and Rocket Man, who's as good as I've ever seen him, and he's jacked as I've ever seen him till right now. Boy, put on some weight.
Oh shit, dude.
He chiseled. Good for you. Yeah, and he's great. And the guy who plays the serial killer is creepy as fuck. He's a perfect creepy. Here's a lollipop kid, get him a van kind of creepy, which is not too far off from what he actually does. So good, just great drama, man. This is a really good show on Apple Plus, man. Kudos to them too. What are your thoughts on that one?
Man, it was a stellar show. Talked about honestly Ray Liotta's last show
Ray
before
Liotta,
he
yes,
passed
correct,
away.
yes, yes. Uh-huh.
But yeah, based on true events, and so you dramatize something that has some meat to it, right? Some validity to it makes it even that much more interesting. And the facts are usually better than fiction in certain storytelling modes.
Sure.
But this was very emotional. It's got a very punch in the gut moment, especially when he's confessing. That one scene in episode 5 where he's confessing
Yeah,
to what he did, or
yeah.
going into detail. I'm like, and he's got to sit there with a straight face because he's trying to elicit this information. It's just like, oh, geez, man, how can anyone sit through that and still consider themselves human? It's just beyond me. But this serial killer was definitely something else. Sad to hear that they never found the bodies, right? Even though
Right.
I think that in the epilogue they say he did confess and they took back his confession, but not never have they been able to find all the bodies that he
Right.
buried.
But he would, but
Um,
they got enough to where they were to convict him and
well, I
keep
mean,
keep
he
him in
got
jail.
convicted for the one or
Right.
two,
But
yeah, but he didn't get out.
but
But
he didn't. The appeal was not overturned, so he got stuck in jail
no, it
because
was
of the, yeah,
denied, and,
yeah.
and so and so he's in jail, tried to commit suicide and stuff. He was fine
Right.
afterwards, but I mean, like I said, great Apple Plus. This is where we get Apple
Yeah.
Plus for shows like this,
I
man.
agree totally. Yeah, this is a must watch in my book. Again, Blackbird, check it out if you haven't. It's a really
Hmm.
good show, man. Amongst a slew of good shows in Apple Plus, so I wanted to at least mention that because it's worth watching. But
Hmm.
that being said, so a lot of good stuff here. I'm excited because after this, I get to go catch an episode of Sandman. So I'm looking forward to it. Whatever. I ate my breakfast already. Uh, Kirpin's busy doing some
Sure.
bunch of stuff she's got to do. Some left her own devices, which means my remote control and the old Netflix sound when I pop it in. So that being said, truly appreciate it. You guys like, subscribe, share, etc., etc. Get your watch list ready, and we'll see you guys next week.
Peace.